You ever walk into a room full of people laughing, talking, sharing their lives, and yet you feel like you're standing behind glass, cut off, unseen, untouched? I have. And it's not just sadness or loneliness. It's something deeper. It's trauma, the invisible wound we don't talk about until it swallows us whole. Trauma doesn't always look like what you expect. It's not just war veterans, accident survivors, or people who lived through disasters. Trauma lives in the quiet spaces, in the kid who never raises her hand at school, the adult who flinches when you raise your voice, the friend who cancels plans last minute with no explanation. It lives in the way someone hesitates before laughing. It lives in the way they keep scanning the room. It's in the slight stiffening when someone touches their arm, the fake smile they put on when inside they're screaming. Trauma isn't loud, it whispers. It hides in habits we think are just who we are. Maybe you think you're just awkward. Maybe you think you're just not a people person. Maybe you think you're bad at relationships, bad at phone calls, bad at trusting people. But what if you're not bad at all? What if your mind is just tired of surviving? Trauma doesn't just leave emotional scars, it rewires the brain. It teaches you that silence is safer than speaking, that distance is safer than connection. That preparing for the worst is smarter than hoping for the best. It trains your nervous system to flinch, to hide, to freeze even when you're not in danger anymore. It teaches you to wear masks, the I'm fine mask, the happy mask, the strong one mask. After a while, you forget you're wearing them. You forget who you even were before you needed them. And that's the cruelest part. Trauma doesn't just hurt you when it happens, it keeps shaping you long after the danger is gone. Have you ever caught yourself wondering, why do I feel drained just being around people? Why does my heart race over a simple phone call? Why do I keep apologizing for things that aren't even my fault? Why do I push away people who try to get close even when I crave connection more than anything? Have you ever thought, maybe I'm just broken? Maybe I'm too much. Maybe I'm not meant for love or peace or happiness. If you have listened carefully, you are not broken. You are not too much. You are someone who adapted the best way you knew how. And adaptation is not weakness, it's proof you survived. In today's video, I'm going to walk you through 7 hidden signs of trauma, signs that so many people miss, even in themselves. These signs aren't obvious. They're not the ones you see in movies. They're the signs you live with silently every day. And once you know what to look for, you'll understand yourself and others in ways you never have before. Some of these signs will make you nod. Some might sting. Some might even make you cry, and that's okay. That means you're ready to see the truth. And once you can see it, you can start healing it. You deserve that chance. You deserve to feel whole again. If even one of these signs stirs something in you, if you recognize yourself, your friend, your child, your partner, hit the like button right now. Not for me, for you. Because the moment you acknowledge your own pain, the moment you say, "This is real," that's when healing finally begins. When we talk about trauma, we usually think it's something private, something that belongs to the individual, their secret, their shame, their silent burden. But trauma doesn't happen in a vacuum, and healing doesn't either. Trauma is shaped by the world around us, by what society sees and what it refuses to see. Our culture loves strength. We admire resilience, hard work, endurance, and those are beautiful things. But somewhere along the way, we twisted the meaning. We started confusing silence with strength. We started treating emotional pain like a personal failure instead of a human experience. Think about it. We teach kids not to cry in public. We call adults dramatic if they express real emotions. We laugh off anxiety. We label depression as laziness. We judge without understanding, without even trying to see the truth underneath. Every time we do that, we build a world where hurting people have to hide. We're told, fake it till you make it. And smile through the pain. Move on already. But what about when the pain isn't ready to move on? What about the nights you can't fake anything because your own mind turns against you? Nobody talks about that part. Nobody celebrates the strength it takes just to survive an ordinary day with invisible wounds. If you have a broken arm, people rush to help. If you have a broken mind, people back away. Emotional injuries don't get casts or crutches. They get silence, awkward glances, judgment. And over time, that stigma doesn't just isolate people. It convinces them they're alone. It convinces them they're defective for feeling what any human would feel after being hurt. And when society ignores trauma, it doesn't just abandon survivors, it deepens their wounds. Every harsh comment, every invalidating look, every moment someone says, "You're overreacting," it carves another layer of shame into the soul. It makes people believe they deserve the pain or that they're too broken to ever be understood. And that belief is what keeps trauma alive long after the danger is gone. That's why conversations like this matter. That's why breaking the silence matters. If you believe we need a world where emotional pain is taken seriously, not minimized, not laughed off, not dismissed, please share this video. You could be the lifeline someone else desperately needs right now. You could be the reason they stop hiding and start healing. Sign 1. Discomfort with people. This one is painfully real for me. Being around people feels like standing in a room full of ticking bombs. You never know which moment will explode. It's not just about being introverted or shy, it's a deep body-level alertness that tells you danger is here. Trauma wires your brain to associate human connection with risk. Every laugh that's too loud, every hand that touches your shoulder unexpectedly, every eye that lingers a little too long. Your body reads these signals and goes into survival mode, even when there's no real threat. I used to walk into gatherings and immediately scan for exits. I wasn't thinking about it consciously. My body just did it. I'd position myself near a door. I'd make sure no one could trap me in a corner. To the outside world, it looked like I was aloof, standoffish, but inside it was like my heart was running a marathon. You don't enjoy conversations, you survive them. And afterwards, you collapse into exhaustion, wondering why something so normal feels like a war zone. It's not about being unfriendly. It's not about hating people. It's about your nervous system screaming, keep yourself safe. And when you don't understand its trauma, you blame yourself. You think you're broken. You think you're a failure at something everyone else seems to do effortlessly. But the truth, you are not broken. You are someone whose mind learned to protect itself. And that protection, even though it hurts now, once kept you alive. Sign 2, shutting down or isolating. Have you ever had a day where the world just became too much, where even answering a text felt like climbing a mountain? Trauma. Survivors know this feeling all too well. Shutting down isn't laziness. It's the brain's way of saying, this is too overwhelming. I have to power down to survive. When unpredictable, painful things happen, especially over and over, your brain adapts. It learns that it's safer to disengage than to stay present. And it starts doing it automatically. I remember so many nights when I'd lie in bed staring at the ceiling, phone buzzing beside me, and feeling completely paralyzed. Not because I didn't care, because caring hurt, because existing hurt. Isolation becomes your armor. Canceling plans feels safer than risking a panic attack. Turning off your phone feels safer than hearing bad news. Staying silent feels safer than explaining feelings nobody seems to understand anyway. But the cost is so high. You lose friendships, you miss opportunities, you start building a wall so high that even you forget how to climb over it. And worst of all, people misunderstand. They call you flaky, cold, unreliable, but deep down you're just exhausted from carrying a world inside you that nobody else sees. You're tired of pretending everything is fine when inside everything is on fire. Shutting down isn't weakness, it's survival in its rawest form. And you deserve a life where surviving isn't your only option, where living is possible. Again, If either of these signs feels like looking into a mirror, save this video right now. Healing isn't linear. Sometimes you'll need to revisit the truth over and over before you fully believe you deserve peace. You do. Sign 3. Compulsive behaviors. Trauma survivors often develop compulsions, habits, or rituals they can't easily control. People hear compulsions and think only of addictions, but the truth is, compulsions can look much quieter. Obsessive cleaning, overeating, scrolling endlessly through your phone, drinking just to sleep, keeping physical distance from everyone, even the people you love. After trauma, the brain craves control. It's desperate to create predictability in a world that once felt like pure chaos. Compulsions are the brain's way of saying, I can control this even if I couldn't control what happened before. I remember a time when I couldn't fall asleep unless I checked every door and window at least 3 times. It didn't matter if I logically knew it was locked. My body didn't care about logic. It cared about safety. Trauma doesn't listen to reason. It listens to fear. And compulsions, as exhausting as they are, offer momentary relief, but the trap is that they never satisfy the fear for long. They just create a cycle. Fear, compulsion, guilt repeat. And because nobody talks about the softer compulsions, the ones that look normal, we end up suffering in silence, thinking it's just another personal failure. If you're stuck in patterns you hate but can't seem to break, please hear me. It's not about willpower, it's about survival. Your mind is trying to protect you, the only way it knows how. And you are not crazy for feeling out of control. You're a human being trying to heal from something that never should have happened. Sign 4. Physical symptoms. Trauma doesn't just live in your memories, it lives in your body. If you've ever felt sick without reason, stomach aches, headaches, chest tightness, unexplained fatigue, it could be your body screaming, what your mind has tried to silence. The body remembers what the mind tries to forget. When I was deep in survival mode, I looked healthy on the outside, but inside my body was at war. I had insomnia so bad that sometimes I didn't sleep for days. My muscles stayed so tight that even breathing hurt. Doctors ran tests. Everything came back normal, but nothing felt normal inside me. And that's the cruel part. When trauma manifests physically, people don't see it. They think you're making excuses. You even start doubting yourself. Trauma activates the body's fight, flight, or freeze system, not just emotionally, but chemically. Elevated cortisol, hypervigilant nervous system, chronic inflammation. It's not in your head. It's in your entire being. If you constantly feel exhausted, no matter how much you rest, if you feel tense even when you're safe, if you struggle with pain that doctors can't explain, your body might be carrying stories you haven't been allowed to tell, and none of it makes you weak. It makes you someone who fought hard to survive, someone whose body carried you through hell, even when the world told you to. Just get over it. If these signs feel painfully familiar, if you're starting to realize you've been surviving more than living, save this video. Healing your mind is powerful, but honoring your body's story is just as important. You deserve both. Sign 5. Excessive apologizing. I used to apologize for everything, for speaking too loudly, for speaking too quietly, for needing help, for taking up space, for being alive. It sometimes felt like excessive. Apologizing isn't just politeness gone wrong, it's survival language. It's what trauma teaches you when love is made conditional, when safety is unpredictable, when every small mistake could trigger anger, rejection, or worse. When you grow up or live in an environment where you're constantly blamed, your brain starts assuming every bad thing is your fault. That's not just a belief, it becomes a reflex. Someone bumps into you on the street, you say sorry. Someone else makes a mistake at work, you apologize. Someone hurts you, you apologize for getting hurt. I didn't realize how automatic it had become until a friend pointed it out once. Why do you always say sorry for things that aren't even yours to fix? I didn't have an answer. I just knew that apologizing made me feel temporarily safer. Like maybe if I said sorry fast enough, I could avoid disappointment. I could dodge anger. I could stay connected even at the cost of myself. Trauma survivors often value connection over their own dignity because isolation felt like death once. If you find yourself constantly apologizing even when logic tells you there's nothing to apologize for, that's not weakness. That's a brilliant, heartbreaking adaptation, and you deserve relationships where you don't have to shrink yourself just to feel safe. Sign 6. Emotional outbursts. Trauma doesn't just simmer quietly, sometimes it erupts, and often it erupts when we least expect it. A simple disagreement turns into a shouting match. A small mistake floods you with shame so intense you can't breathe. A tiny inconvenience tips you into tears. If you've experienced this, you know the aftermath too. The guilt, the confusion. Why did I react like that? What's wrong with me? Here's what's happening. Trauma changes the way your brain processes emotion. Your amygdala, the part of your brain responsible for fear and threat detection, becomes hyperactive. Your hippocampus, the part that helps regulate memory and context, gets overwhelmed. In short, your brain fires off alarms before your logic even gets a chance to intervene. It's not that you're overreacting, it's that your brain learned to treat small threats like big ones, because at some point big threats were real and your survival depended on reacting fast. I remember once snapping at a friend over a minor misunderstanding. The look of hurt on their face haunted me for days. I wasn't angry at them. I was drowning in old fear. Fear that didn't belong to that moment but erupted anyway. Emotional outbursts aren't just losing your temper. They're old survival patterns crashing into new, safer realities your nervous system hasn't caught up with yet. If this is you, you're not crazy. You're someone whose brain is still trying to keep them safe even when it doesn't have to anymore. Healing means teaching it new ways, and that takes time and a lot of compassion for yourself. If you've ever apologized for simply feeling or blamed yourself for emotions that felt too big to hold, save this video. Healing isn't about feeling less. It's about learning to feel safely without shame. You deserve that freedom. Sign 7. Dissociation. This is maybe the most invisible and the most devastating sign of hidden trauma. Dissociation isn't something we choose. It's something that happens when reality becomes too painful to stay inside of. Dissociation is your mind pulling the emergency brake. When the world feels too overwhelming, too unsafe, your brain says, I can't be here right now. And so you're not. Your body might stay in the room. You might nod and smile. You might even keep talking. But inside you floated somewhere far away, numb, disconnected, unreachable. I used to dissociate without even realizing it. One moment I'd be sitting at a family dinner, the next I'd be staring at my plate, feeling like I was underwater, hearing voices like they were coming from behind a thick wall. No emotions, no reactions, just nothing. And afterward, the guilt would set in. Why can't I just be normal? Why can't I stay present? But dissociation isn't failure, it's survival. It's what your brain learned to do when fighting or fleeing wasn't an option. It's the ultimate freeze response, the mind's last-ditch effort to protect you from pain, too big to hold all at once. The tragedy is that even when the danger is long gone, the habit can stay. We dissociate in arguments in crowded places, even during moments of love, because the mind doesn't know the difference yet. Healing from dissociation is possible, but it's slow. It's about learning that it's safe now. Safe to feel, safe to be fully here, and maybe most importantly, safe to trust that you don't have to disappear anymore just to survive. If you've ever found yourself drifting away without meaning to, if you've ever felt like a ghost inside your own life, save this video. Healing is possible, wholeness is possible, and it starts by realizing you're not alone. We've walked through the hidden signs, the small daily ways trauma leaves fingerprints on our lives, but knowing the signs is just the beginning. In the next part, I want to share something even closer to my heart, a real story. One that shows just how much these invisible wounds can shape a life and how healing, even after everything, is still possible. Stay with me. There's a story I haven't told many people, mostly because for a long time I didn't have the words. And honestly, I was scared of what it would mean if I said it out loud, but maybe you need to hear it. Maybe you'll recognize pieces of yourself in it. It started one night at a friend's birthday party, a simple gathering, music, laughter, drinks, nothing dangerous, nothing unusual. But for me, it was like stepping onto a battlefield. I remember standing at the edge of the living room, heart hammering, palms sweating, feeling completely detached from everything around me. Everyone else looked so at ease, so alive, and I was just trying to survive. People kept coming up to me. "Hey, how have you been?" they'd ask with wide smiles. I'd smile back, say something polite, but inside, my mind was sprinting. What if they think you're weird? What if you say the wrong thing? You don't belong here. My chest tightened with every second I could feel my hands shaking slightly. Hidden inside my sleeves, my laugh sounded wrong in my own ears, too loud, too fake. I kept glancing at the clock, counting the minutes like a prisoner waiting for release. My stomach twisted itself into knots. I wanted to run, but I was afraid of what people would think if I left too early. So I stayed pretending. Every second became harder to bear, and then it happened. Someone brushed past me too quickly, bumping my arm. It wasn't aggressive. They didn't even notice. But to my body, it was a full-body alarm. My heart exploded into panic. My vision blurred. My skin burned. I couldn't catch my breath. I muttered something, I don't even remember what, and stumbled outside. The cold night air slapped my face, but it didn't slow the storm inside me. I leaned against the wall of the building, shaking, gasping, tears pouring down my cheeks without permission. I hated myself for falling apart, hated how weak I felt. I kept whispering, "I'm sorry, I'm sorry, I'm sorry," like an old prayer. I didn't even believe anymore. The street was empty except for a few cars rolling by. Their headlights flashed across me like searchlights. I felt so exposed, so small, so wrong. I remember thinking, I can't do this. I can't be like this anymore. I wanted to disappear, to fold myself into nothingness so no one could see the mess I had become. Then footsteps. My friend Lauren. She didn't ask questions. She didn't try to fix me. She just sat down on the cold sidewalk beside me, close enough that our shoulders brushed. We stayed like that for a long time, saying nothing. Later, once my breathing slowed, she finally spoke. "You're okay," she said. "You're safe. You're not broken. You're just hurting." I started crying harder at those words, not because they hurt, but because no one had ever said them to me before. Not like that. Not without judgment. Over coffee that night, I tried to explain, "I don't know why I'm like this," I said, staring down at my mug. "I ruin everything. I can't even survive a party without losing it." Lauren shook her head slowly. "You didn't ruin anything. You survived. You're here. That's not nothing. That's everything." That night was the first time I realized surviving trauma isn't just about what happened back then. It's about what you still carry silently every day. It's the memories your body remembers even when your mind doesn't want to. It's the instincts you can't turn off even when you wish you could. Healing isn't about pretending those patterns don't exist. It's about seeing them, naming them, honoring why they were created in the first place. My brain wasn't betraying me. It was protecting me, even if now that protection sometimes hurt more than it helped. Healing meant learning to thank my body for its loyalty, even when its alarms were no longer necessary. It meant learning to breathe through panic, to stay in my body when every part of me screamed to leave. It meant learning to trust safe people, slowly, painfully, with so many stumbles along the way. If you've ever felt like you're too broken to be loved, you're not. If you've ever thought you're too damaged to heal, you're not. You are someone who fought battles that most people can't even see, and you're still here. That is strength beyond words. If any part of this story felt like your own story, please leave a comment. You don't have to say much. You can just say, "I'm here." You can just leave a heart emoji, just so you know and so others know that none of us are alone in this, that surviving is an act of courage and healing is possible. We carry so much that no one sees. Every laugh we force, every conversation we fake, every heavy night we survive just to show up and pretend again the next day. People think trauma is something you leave in the past, but the truth is, it follows you. It shapes your reflexes, your relationships, your sense of self, sometimes without you even realizing it. Healing isn't about pretending it never happened. Healing is about honoring that it did and choosing to keep going anyway. It's about looking at the younger version of yourself, the one who had no choice but to survive, and saying, "You did the best you could, and now it's my turn to take care of you every time you chose to stay, to breathe, to reach for hope. That was not weakness. That was strength. Strength that so many people will never understand, but you lived it. You own it. Maybe you're still fighting battles you don't talk about. Maybe you're carrying stories you don't even have words for yet. If that's you, you're not broken, you're not damaged goods, you are someone who adapted to survive a world that sometimes forgot how to be kind. And surviving does not make you weak. It makes you extraordinary. Healing isn't linear. Some days you'll feel like you're finally free. Other days, a memory, a smell, a word will pull you back, and you'll wonder if you're starting all over again. You're not. Healing is not a staircase, it's a spiral. You'll come back to the same wounds, but each time you'll face them stronger, wiser, kinder to yourself. You don't have to earn your right to heal. You don't have to be perfect to be worthy of peace. Your survival alone proves that you are worthy right here, right now, exactly as you are. I wish someone had told me that sooner, so I'm telling you now. In case no one else has said it to you lately, I am proud of you truly. For still being here, for still trying, for still hoping. That's no small thing. That's everything. If this video touched something in you, if you felt even a flicker of recognition, a flicker of hope, please like this video. It tells YouTube this content matters, and it helps it reach others who need it too. If you feel brave enough, leave a comment, share a word, a moment, anything. You might be the reason someone else finally feels seen tonight. If you believe in a space where we don't just gloss over mental health, where we go deep, where we heal, loud and messy and real, subscribe to Psych 2 Deep. This community isn't about pretending we're fine. It's about knowing we're not alone, and you're part of it now. You always have been. Thank you for being here, thank you for surviving, and thank you for letting me be part of your healing journey.